接空中瞬爆可以。
哇哟，
这个这样
是我。
Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to the CFS 2018. I'm your host Matt Andrews and we are live to you from VSPN Studios in Taichung in China with the World Championship for CROSSFIRE. Yesterday was just day one of our tournament. Two teams have already qualified to the quarterfinals. Congratulations to Q9 Esports Club and Carbon, who will be joining us tomorrow for quarterfinal action. The first thing we're going to do today is find two more. We'll find out who's the top of Group C and D. Then we're going to go through our groups. Some teams are going to get eliminated. Some other teams are just about going to make it to the quarterfinals. That's all coming today. Loads of games of CROSSFIRE for you. Let's go over to our casters and get right on with the action of CFS 2018.
Day one was the first day of group stages. Today, group stages will conclude and we will have 8 teams progressing through to tomorrow's tournament stage. I'm joined here on the desk to kick things off. It is Kyle and Blue once again. Gents, how are we going today? It was a big day yesterday, but I'm feeling today's going to be a little bit even more exciting.
Yeah, definitely. It's down to the wire here today, and now we're finally going to see teams start to go home today, and this is where all of the pressure is going to start to mount on these teams, especially the ones who fall early on in the day down to that lower bracket.
Yeah, that's the big point here, right, Blue? Yesterday, everyone had at least a second chance. Today, that is where that second chance comes through, and if you lose again, you're out.
Yeah, quite a few of our matches. We still have a few more winners matches to get through, where obviously that second chance is going to be present for the large part. It's elimination matches today, which means everything is on the line, and with the amount of upsets we had yesterday, that means teams may be finding themselves in some unfamiliar situations. It's going to make for some very exciting matches, and I'm excited to jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday, most of the matches were actually pretty close. As you said, a couple of upsets. The things that we know is that all of the Chinese teams have made it through to their upper bracket games. So that's a pretty significant thing for them. Obviously, Q9 has already progressed to their quarterfinal, as has Carbon from North America. Team quite close to your heart, Kyle. So you should be happy to see that they're actually playing very well so far at CFS 2018.
Yeah, definitely. It's on par with what they sort of brought to the table last year. I think for them, the big motivation is trying to get through those quarterfinals and have a successful semifinal compared to last year where they sort of faltered in the bracket stages. So,
yeah, look, it's interesting. I do enjoy the tournament bracket, to be honest. It's 4 groups of 4, double elimination, best of 1. So it means if you win your 2 first games, you lock yourselves in that top seed in your group, you lock yourselves in a quarterfinal slot, and hopefully a better opponent in that sort of situation. We have a look here at Group C. Group C is where we're going to be heading right now. It's our winners bracket game. You can see that's going to be All Gamers up against Execration as our first game of the day. This is going to be a tough game for Execration for sure. All Gamers, one of the Chinese teams, one of the best teams in the world. For me, this is the team that I said I thought we should look out for this year. Last year, they almost got there, but they just weren't good enough. I feel that 2018 is their time. For Execration, however, Kyle, this is a team that came through as the #1 team from the Philippines, and they have a lot of pressure on their shoulders.
yeah, they really do. I mean, AG showed us against Flipside that they're really a strong team to be reckoned with, and that you can't really come back once you get in a lead with AG. So I think AG is really in a powerhouse position here, and they're definitely the favorite to win. However, Execration also surprised me a lot in day one, taking down Ava Team 10-5. Not an easy task. Very impressive from them.
It was a good score as well. It's not like one of those 10-8s that we saw didn't almost go to overtime. So if you're going to have a start up against a team from Vietnam, that's definitely the start that you want. Blue, what are your feelings as we see these two teams go head-to-head today?
I think we're going to be looking at Execration Execration needing to bring a little bit more firepower to the table. Obviously, the team they're going to be going up against is a little bit more of a challenge, and a lot of what we saw from Execration yesterday was due to one person's efforts. There was one player that really shot ahead in the stats. If we look at him, it was Cart that had a massive game on that map yesterday, and he's going to have to not only do that again, we're going to have to see some of the other players step up as well due to the opponents that they'll be facing in this matchup.
What map are we going to be seeing today? Obviously, we're continuing in the upper bracket winners. We saw it yesterday. Moving across to Subbase.
Yeah, Subbase I definitely think is going to be a map that has a lot of action-packed moments just because a lot of the fights are in very condensed areas. You're going to have a lot of close quarters battles there. And as we saw in the first 2 matches on Subbase yesterday, anything can happen and one small mistake can flip the round completely against you.
Yeah, so the way that this format works is obviously we're playing different maps in different areas of the tournament. The winners bracket games have all been on Subbase. That's what Q9 and Carbon played on. Obviously, all gamers at Execration now. It's going to follow that format. Then SVG up against INTZ will be our next match in the final of the upper brackets winner. After we push through that, we're going to go into our lower bracket round of 1. And all of the teams that win through that progress through to the lower bracket finals. Unfortunately, the losers of the remaining games today are unfortunately eliminated. So there is a lot on the line, but at the same time, there's a great opportunity for teams to come through and really show us that they deserve to be here.
Yeah, very much the case. And the good news that we'd like to say before is because they are predetermined maps, they have opportunities to prepare themselves. They know what they're going to be going up against. All they really aren't going to be able to prepare for is potentially, the team they'll have to face, besides knowing exactly who's in their group. So it still gives them a little bit more room to prepare for these specific matchups, and hopefully works out to be maps that these teams are going to be prepared to play on.
Yeah, just to progress through the rest of our schedule for today, obviously when we do finish up our winners brackets game, is going to be lower bracket for Group B, JSV up against Boss. Look, I think that's going to be tough for JSV to kind of push through. They certainly didn't have the result that perhaps they wanted to get yesterday. Maybe they didn't expect to win, but a 10-0, that makes life tough.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think for them, it would just be nice to see them at least put up a fight here in that match against Boss. I don't necessarily expect them to come out on top, but at least a stronger match would be nice to see from them.
Following up is lower bracket C, and that's Ava Team up against Black Dragons. Both of these teams, Blue, probably would have preferred to do a little bit better yesterday. Are any of these two that you're sort of leaning towards at the moment?
Personally, I would say Black Dragons, but it is going to need to be a rebound for them after what we saw against AG yesterday. However, that was more so AG looking incredibly strong in their opening matchup, and something that we might actually see in this first upcoming match too.
And then as we head across to Group D, it's Penta up against Pacific Warrior. Penta maybe a little bit unlucky yesterday. I think they played quite well. That was quite a standout performance, perhaps even if they didn't come through across the line. As we move across back to this game, you can see Execration up on the screen. Our team from the Philippines, our team who qualified as the #1 seed from the Philippines as well. Talk to me about the pressure that these players might be feeling from their home region. Obviously, we've talked a lot about Pacific Makta, who in 2017 had quite an impressive result. It's hard to go and fill those shoes, Kyle.
Yeah, it definitely is, but I think Execration has done a good job of stepping it up so far. I think this is a true test for them, though, a much stronger team to go up against. But I was impressed with their performance in day 1. I mean, looking at that match on paper, I didn't expect them to even win their first game here, and now they come out with a huge win and look pretty confident going into this one.
What are your thoughts, Blue? How are you feeling about Execration right now?
Once again, all eyes are going to be on Cart with the way he performed in yesterday's matchup.
Yeah.
If he's able to repeat that, there's no doubt in my mind that we might be able to see them sweep past some of these Chinese Titans that are going to be on the other side of the playing field. But at the same time, we see the performance from him drop off a little bit. Maybe some of the other players aren't performing as strong either, with how consistent really every player on AG looked in their first matchup yesterday. It's going to make for an incredibly tough match, as of course they're coming into this one as one of the favorites really to take the whole thing if they can go the distance once again.
Yeah, I guess that's the point here, right? It's not like a Group C is probably the most difficult group here. That's the reality of the situation, and I think not necessarily everyone expected to see Execration up here in their winners bracket game, but they've done what they needed to do to get to this point, and now they're just one best away from locking themselves in that quarterfinal spot. And to be honest, it would be a pretty big statement to be able to take down one of the best teams in China here at CFS 2018.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it really is going to come down to what we saw successful for the teams yesterday, and I think for Execration, Charlito has to step up as the sniper, as we saw from Carbon. When Kai's was able to do that, there was just a whole new gameplay for them on the side of Carbon. Always getting that man advantage against Rue Legends yesterday was so vital to their success, and I think if we can see Execration do that, they may be able to take down a team like AG here.
We did talk a lot yesterday about how all games were going up against Black Dragons, and Black Dragons were maybe this sort of anti-Chinese. They had that meta that perhaps suited them to be able to take them down. Unfortunately, they weren't good enough. That says to me that perhaps if that was their nemesis, Blue, there's potential here for All Dragons to come out with quite an impressive performance.
Yeah, certainly going to be the case, considering how I already talked about kind of how strong the individuals were looking yesterday when in any kind of individual 1v1 matchup. But it's not that, but the amount of map control they had on defending side as well was really something that's going to have to be watched out for going on to these other maps. And the good news is I think that Subbase is going to be a little bit less of a choke pointy map compared to what they were playing on yesterday, which was Mexico's, so that may not be as big of an issue for their opponents here. But if they can exercise anywhere near that amount of control, then we're going to be looking at a really rough time for the guys in Execration when they're on attack.
And I guess the other thing for me here is that if we're talking about momentum from day number one, All Gamers, not only did they come through with the victory, but everyone actually played quite well. There were, a couple of players did better than others, but no one was down the bottom. No one was, sitting there on like 3-12 or something. Everyone had pretty good results, and that's, a pretty good start for them coming through and a good indication. And maybe everyone's on their top game this week.
Yeah, for AG, they're playing on a whole new level, it feels like, whereas Execration, there's definitely players I felt like could have stepped up. Modern, for me, was someone I expected to do well after seeing his performance in the qualifiers, but he didn't really have the best of games in Game 1, even though players like Cart and Charlito were able to step up and close out that game for them.
Yeah, that's the real thing here, right? It is usually easier to come out and get some decent frags when your team is winning. If you're in that advantageous position, you're finding yourself, it's easier to excel within a team when everyone's playing well than perhaps if, you're struggling to pick up rounds. And unfortunately, that was the case of Modern yesterday. 4-11 is not the greatest of scores. However, this is his opportunity to bring it back. It is All Gamers up against Execration. Our winners bracket game for Group C. The winner of this game goes through to the quarterfinals, the top seed in their group. The loser has another shot later on this afternoon. Gents, let's get into it.
All right, so we're jumping into our first map of the day. It's back to Subbase. If you were with us for last night, it's going to be a familiar sight for you, as this is where the upper bracket finals matches will be played out in their entirety. Execration, with their upset victory to get them started in the group yesterday, have now put them up against All Gamers, the second-place Chinese team and arguably the second place in the world. We'll have to see if they can get past them, as it's match time. It's going to be All Gamers on attack. Execration will be on defense, playing for the global risk.
And right now you can see with the gun selection, an interesting gamble. It looked like Ares was actually going to start with that AWM, but he switches quickly after missing that opening pick there, back to the AK. Right now it's going to be about TF versus Charlito here over in the long A control position, but they're actually going to boost Charlito into the vents here to try and stall any early pushes coming out from AG. I like this decision from Execration, not playing too overzealous with their peaks, but making sure they lock down the key choke points here across the map, and almost the spot there from Charlito, a chance at an early pick. But TF, he's already been taken down to half HP, so we'll see if that plays to the advantage of Execration here. But AG, they're taking their time as usual and running down the clock to put the pressure on Execration here.
Yep, pretty much the same style that we were seeing yesterday out of both of these teams on defense, and it's going to be similar play style to start up the day, but it is going to be Execration. Gamero that finds himself a nice opening frag against TF to bring AG down to 4 at the start of the round. Still slow play besides that. It's not looking like All Gamers are going to go for any immediate response to that lost teammate.
Right now, AG trying to put a little bit of pressure here over towards the B bomb site, but right now they need to find that opening pick to go their way. Otherwise, Execration could be in a great position to take this opening round here, already with that 5-on-4 advantage and no clear side of entry here for AG. Right now, though, they're going to be slowly creeping their way here in control for B. They've got 3 players working up to lockers, ready for the execution. Smoke screen's blocking them off. Not going to stop them, though. They're going to try and force their way in here. Ares spots one on the rafters, but they're going to run into trouble here. ZY and TMQ working their way in nicely, each finding a frag here, and it's already down to a 3-on-3. Charlito finds one on the retake, but it's not going to be enough. ZQ picks up Cart, and it's a 2-on-3. Modern and Charlito looking to try and clutch this one out. Already, though, ZQ going to run into some trouble, but Charlito not ready for his positioning, and ZY closes it out, and it's actually a good round for AG there. What started for Execration looking solid, AG just steamrolls their way through.
Execration initially holding to bring things down to a 5 versus 4, but the site take into B is strong from All Gamers. They push their way in. Overall, just not a whole lot of response coming in at all from the Execration defense on the B site. And by the time All Gamers take control, the remaining players from Execration locked into an unwinnable retake situation, giving All Gamers control of the opening round.
And now we're going to see LXM going for that duel in vents once again. This time, though, A nade going to be thrown right at him, but he gets out of that one nicely. Tries to counter it back. Not going to do any damage either, though. LXM trying to fight this position, but Execration, they've done a good job of making sure no one can abuse this position yet. Controlling vents, a very important thing here on sub base. LXM trying to force his way forward, but TF trying to assist here as well from the lower side of vents. Charlito, though, holding the cross here towards A. We'll see if he goes for the challenge here.
TF just constantly trying to see if he can get himself a peek. Nothing revealing itself just yet from inside of the doors there. As the guys on Execration are going to continue to hold in passive fashion, waiting once more for all gamers to make the first move of this round. Got a lot of pressure moving inside of the control room. That's also where the C4 is positioned for all gamers as well. So an opportunity for them to push forward might present itself on this side of the map if we don't see any immediate picks being drawn closer to the A site. And actually, we're out of game, so I believe that round is going to be nullified. We'll get our admins to look into the situation quickly and figure out what exactly was going wrong.
Yeah, right now looks like we do have some sort of technical pause, but let's talk about that first round here. AG in a 4v5 disadvantage, but as we've seen in the past, it doesn't seem to stop them on their executions. They make it look like a 5-man execution, even with 4, and just clean things up almost to perfection here. And that makes me a little bit worrisome for Execration here looking forward. They have created the advantages, but against AG, it seems so hard for them to hold on to it.
That was going to be the big question, basically, going into this matchup, is whether Execration would have been able to hold in more even one-on-one gunfights versus these very, very competent Chinese players who we saw from yesterday are really showing up on all fronts. Pretty much every single player having themselves a good game in their opening matchup versus Black Dragons. Execration, really 1 or 2 standouts for them, but some other players, unfortunately, lagging behind in the stats department. So we need to see them pick up the slack today. They want to have a hope of taking down AG, who are looking strong on all fronts so far from their first game.
Yeah, and right now I'm definitely looking to that sniping duel here from TF versus Charlito. I think that's going to be key in deciding who ultimately walks away with this match victory here today. And so far, it seems like TF has a bit more control in this situation so far, but that can definitely change when they flip sides at the half. But right now, AG definitely looks like the more dominating team so far, but we are only 1 round in, so maybe Execration has some nice adjustments in store for us moving forward here.
Plenty of time to turn this back around and allow for the guys on Execration to get back into it, as they also want to fight for an early spot in the quarterfinals and disallow the Chinese teams from continuing to sweep through the brackets, as we've seen from day 1.
Yeah, and this would be a huge thing to do, because if one of these teams that we think is going to make through out of the 2 Chinese teams left actually falls and gets a 2nd seed going into the quarterfinals, there's a chance 2 Chinese teams meet in that quarterfinal, which completely shifts how we might expect this one to play out here as we go into the bracket stage.
Certainly make for an interesting story, given the way that we've generally seen the tournament bracket play out over the past few years. Once again, guys, if you are just joining us, we played out the first round of this opening match of the day. It's Execration going up against all gamers in the upper bracket finals of this group. The winner will move on into the quarterfinals. We are currently paused due to a technical issue. We've only played out 1 round, though, so thankfully you haven't missed all that much. We'll be jumping back into the second and, of course, all following rounds as soon as we've resolved whatever the issue is. We'll be continuing on with the match. Plenty more to come after this as well. We're only on our first match of the day. We have, I believe, 8 more following this one as we get through all of the action in the groups and look to move on into the quarterfinals tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and just looking ahead to the other winners match we have on the way, SV versus INTZ. Interested to see that one moving forward, too. I know INTZ sort of shocked people with the performance they brought to the table yesterday, so I think that'll be another exciting opportunity for a potential upset there. Obviously, both of the Chinese teams that are still in this fight going to be the favorites, but honestly, INTZ had a really strong performance in their day 1 match as well, so both of these teams earning their right to potentially take these winners matches. But right now, we're going to hop right back into it. AG and Execration, AG leading 1-0 here as we continue on sub base. But Ares, the double AWM setup comes through, and they take down TF immediately. A bold way to start off this second round.
However, remember, this is the same exact way our previous round had started off, too, with Execration having themselves an advantage. It's going to grow bigger than we saw in the last round, though. Charlito picking up an opening kill, but LXM trades them both right back with a push on his own. Inside of the control room, he continues that push as LXM finds himself a 3rd now. So a massive opening play from him to pick up a triple kill and bring Execration down to only 2 players remaining. Now 1 as a grenade knocks in another one. Good shot from ZQ. Leaves it all on Camaro to try and bring this back for Execration. It's going to be so difficult, though. He's been spotted out inside of the upper control room. Finds a nice pick from the area. Able to knock out LXM and finally stop his own rampage. We're down to just ZQ and ZY from All Gamers to try and Hold off the bomb site now that we've seen the plant go onto the ground. Camaro moves himself in. He's going to get spotted out by ZQ. A difficult approach, but he makes it work. One pickup, and it'll be traded out by ZY as All Gamers claim the second round.
And you can tell they're a bit frustrated there. They had 2 opening picks, but still fall once again to the executions here from AG. LXM, though, definitely being the saving grace in that round for AG, picking up 2 vital picks and a 3rd kill on top of it as he stormed into upper A. So definitely a great way to keep things rolling for AG here. But Execration still trying to make the adjustments. They had 2 opening picks now. They just have to figure out how to hold on and close out these rounds.
It's going to continue to be a relatively slow opener as All Gamers leave their options open in terms of their push across the map. Execration didn't want to take a fight early on there. We saw some action happening, but no shots connecting. All players still remaining at full HP at the moment. As All Gamers, well, they've worked their way in past the double doors a little bit more easily this time. Getting past the steps and over towards the A site is going to be obviously a little bit more of a difficult task.
Right now they are just hunting for that first pick, but we do see Execration set up nicely in a passive setup, forcing the push here before things could fall against them. Modern, though, getting a bit antsy here over towards the top of the A staircase, goes for the wide peak, actually gets the shot onto ZY. The question now is, will he fall back? No, they're actually going to push into it. Cart will join him here, and they find ZQ looking for the 3rd frag. Not going to find it, though. TMQ trades out onto Cart, and things still looking good for Execration as TMQ only escaped that with just a little bit of health.
Team Keo will have to hold back for the rest of the round. Now, unfortunately, can't take any initial engagements anymore for his team. It's down really to TF and LXM to take those marks, meaning Execration have themselves a much better position for the rest of this round, especially with Modern being able to move forward and take his very advanced position. Time is also running low with the guys on All Gamers here, just below 1 minute to get the C4 onto the ground. It does seem like they're favoring B, mainly keeping LXM back by the double doors to watch out in the event Execration go for a push. It'll work, though. LXM's able to catch Modern, who was lurking inside of the doors, and TF does them one better as he finds another pick. TF tries to go for another one, but he's knocked up by Camaro on the upper rafters of the B site, bringing it down into an even 2v2 now with not a whole lot of time left for All Gamers, considering their 2 remaining players are split. But you can see LXM has noticed a pattern that the A site might be open for the taking, and he's going to rush right in and find that to be true. The problem is, it's going to take the C4 some time to rotate in, and it's going to get caught out by Charlito on the way over.
Definitely a big drop on that C4. LXM, though, a very strong presence here for AG, looking for that 1v2 opportunity. Has to try and isolate these 2 players, but with only 10 seconds, he has to get the kills. That's not going to happen, though. Charlito with a big round there, and Execration pick up their first.
Execration getting onto the board relatively early on with only 2 rounds in a row picked up by All Gamers before we see Execration claim their own. They're not going to go down without a fight, that's for sure, as they find 1 round to start things off. Most of the effort so far from All Gamers has been coming in from LXM, and we saw him get knocked out of the round relatively early after his hold at the double doors there. But still, he's been finding most of the impact from All Gamers, so it's important that he keeps himself alive. Similar story should be true for players like Charlito and Camaro over on the Execration side.
And once again, we see vent control coming out from Execration. This time around, though, AG seems a bit concerned in taking this B-bomb site this time around, only leaving ZQ to try and hold off the potential A flank here. C4 in the hands of LXM alone, outside of L-turn and mid as well, looking for a split push here onto the B-bomb site, just isolating with some nades here to see if anyone goes for the early peek, but we do see Execration playing this one quite passively. 3 players towards A, only really 1 anchor in Camaro here over towards that B-bomb site, so they need to be a bit careful as this could be a full push only to try and be held off by Camaro here.
TMQ and ZQ both trying to make a push. ZQ at the double doors, though, that finds his impact. LXM stepping up to the plate again. Camara's there for 1 trade, but it doesn't seem to matter. All Gamers dominating at this point in terms of the gun battle that's happening across the map. Not only this, but most importantly, All Gamers, of course, getting access to the B site. They're going to put the C4 onto the ground. No problem with that whatsoever. It's out of Charlito and Modern, both pretty restricted over towards the A side of the map. They're going to have to try and work their way over, but in a 4v2, this is going to be incredibly difficult to work their way back in.
ZQ in a nice position. Charlito trying to see if he could maybe spot another player before he gets the kill. Finally snags it there, but TMQ finds Modern on the flank. It's all on Charlito once again to make the impact for his team. 1-on-3 situation, not looking too likely here. AG, already knowing the position, collapses in on him, and it's going to be ZY to finish off the round there. 3-1, AG starting to pull further ahead.
And unfortunately, that comes down to that solid execution power that we've been seeing from All Gamers throughout the course of this map so far, especially over towards the B-bomb site. The A site's been a little bit more hit or miss for them, but for the most part, it's still been working out. So they've been able to pierce their way through and take solid control across the board here on this map so far against Execration. 3-1 now becomes the score as we continue to move forward, and a similar opening play style will be exercised by All Gamers in this 4th round, or excuse me, in this 5th round.
Right now, though, a little bit more favoritism over towards A this time around. 3 players lurking outside of the double doors here, waiting for someone to potentially peek in Execration. They might actually go for it here. Cart and Modern getting a bit aggressive here towards the A staircase. Modern already sitting on the top, waiting for the flash to peek. Ares comes in for the support. Not going to matter, though. AG shuts it down, and it's going to be a 3-for-1 exchange. Not how they needed to start this round for Execration.
All gamers continue to push themselves forward. LXM still lurking inside of the big control room as well. He'll find himself yet another pick to knock out Camaro. Everything is down to Charlito, and as we can expect, he's not going to be able to last very long. All gamers knock him out and continue to dominate on their blacklist side.
And this is where things do start to get a bit scary for Execration here. They're making the strategic moves they need to, but every aim duel seems to go the way of all gamers in these situations, and that is not something you can afford to let happen here. 4-1 the score, and it surely may be going even further against them here in round number 6. Right now, though, we see a very similar setup coming out from both teams. Execration trying to get that early vent control presence, and all gamers having that 3-stack outside of A-Long once again. They're hoping that Execration makes the mistake of pushing through. Charlito, though, going to be holding this angle, hoping that they make the mistake to peek, but AG, they've read this quite well. They want to go in for the A attack once again. Cart and Modern having some struggles to hold off this A push. We'll see if they can make it happen this time around, though.
Round through the red pipes and over to the main steps leading into A. ZY and ZQ comes storming in, knocking out the defenders for Execration. Cart the only one able to hold, and another nice pick from ZY into the control center up on top. Camaro is available for 1 trade, but it still gives advantage to all gamers. Only slightly, though, in a 3v2, considering ZQ has been heavily injured. But now, with access to the top area as well, they're really going to restrict Execration's potential retake angles. And there we go. LXM on the other angle is going to be able to pinch the remaining Execration roster members, leaving it all on Ares here. A 1v3 set against him, and the odds are not looking great. It's likely that we are going to be looking at a 5th round for all gamers, as Ares is now in a wild goose chase to find LXM, but he's safely fallen back to the A site.
LXM, great repositioning there. Forced Ares in now. A 14-second situation to grab all 3 in the defuse. Surely not something that's even possible. And LXM playing that one to perfection. Will pick up another for AG. And right now, they are looking almost unstoppable here. 5-1. Not the scoreline you want if you're Execration in this situation. But AG, they just have everything going their way here and are reading Execration so well. Charlito, though, gets the opening pick here onto ZY. But as we've seen, that may not be enough here.
Seen this quite a few times. I believe this is the 3rd round now where Execration have gotten themselves off to a 5v4 start, but have been unable to follow it through and close out onto the round. So all gamers certainly not going to find themselves in a worryful situation just yet, but it was one of their more impactful players that did get knocked out, so we'll have to see how that affects them when it comes down to the execute. A favor towards B will be the plan once again from all gamers, and there's the trade right back down into a 4v4 as ZQ was able to knock out Charlito and bring the AWM off the team.
And now we do see AG working their way back towards A once again. Modern trying to make this position work for himself. He hasn't had too much success here, usually getting traded out by TMQ or LXM in this position. And once again, it happens for AG. TMQ finds Modern in the corner. They know he plays that position quite often. Cart, though, able to find one of his own. Still an even numbers situation on the plant. TMQ going to try and get it down here, but TF already taken down from Cart on the back of site. 2v3, finally Execration in a position where they could win this one here if Cart is able to hold on, but TMQ wants to take the fight. So far, though, no luck connecting on the kill just yet, but that nade could be enough, but it actually just barely misses over the top. Cart, though, going to back off and play for the retake now.
We're going to see ZQ try to hold here with TMQ. They've got access, got themselves a safe position behind the big missile, so at very minimum, that's going to guarantee TMQ the plan he needs. Problem now for Execration is, okay, it's all gamers on the defense. How do we get past them here? How do we get ourselves back into the site? They're using a lot of their utility, and unfortunately, none of it's really connecting at this point. And either member of all gamers, they're playing this incredibly passive. A great flashbang on the TMQ. Doesn't look like we have a real follow-up. We still, the closest thing to a retake we're seeing so far is Cart moving himself around on the steps, but he's incredibly low. He's probably going to find himself in a losing situation for any of these fights that he takes. Time continuing to get lower and lower here. Another good flash connecting on to TMQ. ZQ is going to be none the wiser as he gets pushed, but he's able to hold on his own. However, his teammate is lost. He's alone, just trying to delay for time at this point, but it won't matter. Gets the triple kill at the end of the round and closes it down for all gamers again.
All gamers just winning here on this individual gameplay across the board. Quite phenomenal to see unfold, and AG already in a great position to potentially close out this match and move themselves as yet another team into our quarterfinals here. Just a beautiful 1v3 situation there. Execration, though, so hesitant on the retake that they just didn't have the time to clear all the angles they needed to. They need to be a little bit more aggressive on these retakes if they want to take down a team like AG. Right now, though, this half already in the hands of AG. Now it's just a matter of how many more rounds Execration might be able to get on the board here before it's all said and done. Charlito, though, not able to find that opening pick this time around. And look at LXM in this position. He's already crossed the opening of vents. He's just looking for the right opportunity to go in for the drop down here. It looks like he just may come for the support for his teammates, but Charlito actually spots him getting a little bit too aggressive there. LXM goes down. Charlito once again finds the opening pick, but there's already a battle here for the A-bomb site. Cart trades out with a kill onto ZY, and it's going to be a 4-on-3 in favor of Execration. Cart, though, still holding on, finds yet another one, taking down TF. Gets the third as well. TMQ goes down. It's all on ZQ to try and hold on here, but he does manage to finally take down Cart to make this one a 1v3.
Problem is, too much damage has been done here now for ZQ. He's left all the way down to 22 HP. Going to have to force himself away and try to reposition into another spot to retake towards that A site. Since the C4 went down in the initial engagement, he's looking his best to try and lurk. He'll work his way through the B cage, see if he can pick up any positions against the Execration members, but so far, not showing up with a whole lot. He'll work his way to the control room, finds quite a few players, but the second he re-peeks, he won't get immediately picked off as Execration finally do get themselves a second round up onto the board.
A much needed one at that as well, but surprisingly enough, Ares and Modern really not doing a whole lot for Execration in this match so far. Modern, one of the ones we pointed out as someone who struggled in day one as well, only at 1-7 so far in this match. TMQ, though, already hunting for this player, spots Camaro, but a nice double kill exchange comes out, looking for the triple kill. ZQ in a tight spot, loses almost 60 HP there, and he's going to have to fall back. Right now, things looking better for Execration in this final round of the half, but TF finally responds with a kill going their way, but Ares immediately there to trade it out, and it's a 4-on-2. ZQ under half as well, and LXM, the only player alive for AG with full HP.
LXM going to make a push forward and try to move on his own for the time being. He will get support from ZQ in a few moments. He's got the C4 in hand as well, so they still are going to be able to carry that through towards one of the sites, but it has not been lost in the initial engagement as we saw in the last round. However, take a look at this. LXM is going to get lurked on and catches it. Nicely found. He's able to knock out Modern nice and quickly, bring this into a 2 versus 3. He will take some damage in the exchange out in the open, and while he'll get one more, he will also get picked off as ZQ now puts himself into a 1 versus 3 situation. He's got actually pretty decent access to the B site. So he tried to lurk in and just maybe get a plant situation started, but even then, the 1v3 is going to be incredibly difficult to pull off just when you look at the HP disparity.
Definitely should be one. In theory, you'd think Execration should win, but ZQ, these kind of shots could make it happen. Already popping the head of Camaro there on the 1v3. Now a 1v2 bomb yet to be planted, but still, they have to be wary of this position here. ZQ, a deadly aimer here for AG, and they want to be careful to make sure they trade this one out at the very least for Execration to find this last round of the half. Charlito and Ares, though, trying to sneak their way in here. Both players isolated. Potential 1v1. ZQ finds the second, looks for the 1v3 to go his way, but the 1v1 is all that matters at the end of the day, and Ares walks away with it for Execration.
Very, very close affair, though. Almost seeing the Chinese team come out on top again for one more round, but thankfully, Execration are able to close out when it is brought down to that last individual duel there to bring us into a 6-3 scoreline at halftime. Was seeming desperate for a while there on Execration's end as well. It seemed like all game was really just going to run the distance, and we ended up like 8-1 or something like that at halftime. But they brought it back, able to make it 6-3, and they'll have to keep those efforts up onto the second half to try and bring this back into a closer matchup.
Yeah, and for me, the biggest thing was seeing how those rounds play out. AG had a lot of clean victories. Every round that Execration won, they had to fight to the bitter end to try and grab those rounds. So I think AG still looks like clearly the stronger team here moving forward, but Execration has had some potential successes moving forward that could put them in a situation to pull it back here. But right now, AG, just the individual aim has been on a whole new level so far this entire event, and I think Execration is still going to have a tough go of it as we go into the second half.
Well, second half should be starting in just a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be diving directly into it here to see if AG will be able to retake control early on in the half to get a quick closeout and a quick ticket to the quarterfinals with only 2 matches needed in order to accomplish that, or it'll be Execration instead causing an upset and maybe a little bit of a rift in the way that the brackets for the quarterfinals could play out.
Here we have it, though. Execration trying to go for an early B presence here, taking a little bit of control of mid. They actually fall off immediately, just checking for that early counter-aggression potentially to come out from AG. But AG, they've played this one in a B stack formation. They've only got one player pushing forward from lower A. The rest all going to be over towards this B bomb site. TF taking down Charlito early on as well, going to make this even more difficult for Execration on the execution.
We've got the rest of Execration stacking up over here towards the double door room just on the outside of the A site. Won't have much of a challenge from all gamers on the inside of that room should we decide to see Execration go for it. And I think that they know it, so they're also going to throw a few more players up the steps outside, try to check out things a little bit closer towards center.
AG, though, still playing passive, even with that numbers advantage, not going for any counter-aggressive plays just yet. Meanwhile, we do see Aries here going for an aggressive pick here, and Vence hoping that there's someone boosted up there, but he actually spots ZQ, but that's enough information for him to want to back off in this situation. Right now, though, bomb going to be picked up by Aries, and it looks like they may go for the late A execution here after all. 3 players still grouped up here, and it looks like they're going to send Camaro over to join in, but TMQ going to be the one trying to lock down this position from the bottom of the A staircase.
Less than a minute left here, so it's danger time for Execration. They need to force themselves into the site soon. They haven't even really struck in any damage at all against the All Gamers roster just yet, nor do they know what the setup's going to look like within the actual site. TMQ holds for a 1-for-1 as the engagement begins down the steps. The rest of Execration now going to start to move themselves in. It's Camaro leading the charge for his team, but Cart is going to be able to pick up the next frag here. However, ZQ holds the line. He's able to knock out Camaro, gets himself a second as well before we see ZY closing out for All Gamers as they get off to a strong start once again on the second half.
And now this is where Execration has to fire back 7-3 in AG's favor already, looking like one they could surely close out at this point. Execration needs to change the pace here and find a way to control this half of the map very quickly. Otherwise, AG should be able to walk away with it here. Execration, though, going to have Charlito in position over here towards A to potentially try and snag a pick, but no luck just yet. AG, though, going to be playing the same passive setup once again. ZQ having a lot of success in the previous round, so they don't really need to rotate any extra supporters here over towards that A bomb site to help out TMQ.
CTF getting himself a spot on a few players by the doors, but unfortunately, no connection going to be made onto any of them just yet. He'll fall back just behind the B cage and decide to play a little bit closer into the site, but that is going to restrict a little bit of their presence towards A. I think they still have 3 players softly leaning towards that site, with 1 more sitting on the steps directly. That's going to be TMQ defending against the stairs push that has been the common theme when this has been played out. But Execration don't have themselves a position towards the site just yet. They're continuing to play this incredibly slowly on the opening seconds of the round. Try and bring the timer down and hope that all gamers will get aggressive, but we haven't really seen that too much just yet.
Right now, though, the smoke screen continuous here for AG. It's something that we saw in their first match as well, always keeping these smoke screens across the map as long as possible and really putting the pressure on the enemy team to push through them and give them a bit of an advantage here on their positioning. Charlito, though, wants to take the fight here on ZY, but has no opening through the smoke. And ZY, he's just playing the perfect position behind it to try and catch him. TMQ already finds Modern as well. And again, AG in the driver's seat, but Cart able to find one to answer back and even it up to a 4v4. Charlito, though, misses the cross pick on to LXM there, but Camaro finds one on to TF, and now Execration with a solid chance to take control of the B-bomb side. And it looks like they will indeed get the bomb down here.
Plant's going to go onto the floor here, and now time will start ticking in the favor of Execration. Charlito on the fallback is going to get himself some congestion against multiple members of All Gamers. Behind the corner, though, they are none the wiser. Walks right up, is able to pick off one. He's got a chance to find a second two. ZQ will take the engagement, though, and finds the refrag to bring us into a 2v3. Impact has been made, though. ZY is also incredibly low at about 20 HP for him to play off of, and ZQ is not really looking much better at about 60. These guys will have a hard time trying to pull off the retake now in what is a 1 versus 3 all on ZQ, and he'll get ripped apart as we see Execration immediately trading their round back on attack and able to go 1 for 1 for the half.
Definitely a solid round there as well from Execration. That's the first clean round they've been able to win in this map so far. And if they can keep that up, there's a chance to get this momentum on their side and pull this one back. But TF sneaks up mid, finds one onto Cart. Aries did get the opening there onto LXM, and Camaro able to find another one before going down as well. Charlito takes down TMQ, and still Execration hold on to the numbers advantage through this counter-aggressive push coming out from AG. ZQ and TF, the last 2 alive here, still deadly players to go up against in a numbers down situation, but the bomb quickly working its way over to the bottom of A, but ZQ rotates into the top of A to try and stall this push, but he actually misses on those bottom A players, and now it's all about the retake here for AG.
So ZQ will fall back and try to get himself in a good position to regroup with his teammate. We'll accomplish that. Charlito, though, is already in a great position to hold by the steps. So we'll take a little bit of heat himself as he falls back, but as you can see, plenty of utility to hold off TF and the remaining members of AG from pushing down these steps. And if they do go for a direct peek now, as you can see, Charlito's got the angle. He's got his number red, but the shot's not going to connect. He's going to try to do it with the pistol instead, but no, he'll be forced away once again. Modern Note does manage to take out TF's teammate. TF will find the pickup on a Charlito, but time is incredibly low. A 1v2 set against him. He needs to find both these frags pretty much instantaneously and jump onto the C4, but it will not be done. Ares closes it out for Execration, and they find a second round in a row.
Nicely done, and yet again, we see Execration doing what they need to on this blacklist side of the map, and if they can keep this up, there is a chance to still bring it back just yet. Right now, though, AG looking to make some adjustments here. They're not going to be too aggressive this time around. They almost pushed there, but they're going for the light boost here, something we haven't seen just yet. Nice spot to choose here in AG. We'll see if it pays off here. It's such a cheeky position, but if you don't check it, it can ultimately be your downfall here. I definitely like this choice to play passive and hope that they can utilize this position.
Pretty much going to the exact opposite of the extreme from what we saw in the last round with a run out for them to try and catch Execration off guard outside on the map. Obviously, that didn't pan out too well, so now they've gone the other direction. Complete passive play, sticking pretty much entirely to the sites, but just having two players ready to rotate towards either one, closer towards mid, on the inside of the building. Execration, though, continuing to take things slow. They'll start up at the command center as they push in to take control here, and it will be free. So utility is going to be used for not a whole lot of reasoning, unfortunately, due to the lack of presence here from AG.
Execration, though, the question is, will they run into this trap here that AG has created for them over towards the B bomb site, or will they make the smart decision of feeling out the defenders and potentially hitting this A bomb site? Right now, though, AG doing a good job of not giving up any positioning just yet, playing extremely passive and hoping they can utilize their forward positioning here without getting too caught off guard. Modern, though, definitely one of the players who needs to step it up for Execration to try and close this one out and bring back to the tie. We'll see if he can make it happen here on the A execution. Has to be careful, though. Two players very close by here on the bottom of A. LXM and TMQ trying to trade off of each other. A nice cross setup here, playing off the back of the missile. TMQ flash in hand as well. Modern, though, has to come out guns blazing here and make the impact. 30 seconds left in the round here. Still some hesitation coming out from Execration, but LXM, such a key position here to try and stall things out. Looks for the first, finds it. Not going to be able to do anything more than that, though. Already down to a 4-on-4 situation, but TMQ is still alive on the back of the site, and he holds it off with a nice double kill. ZQ takes down another, and it's all now on Charlito. The 1-on-4, not going to happen. TMQ finds a third, and another big hold comes out from AG.
TMQ with a great hold from behind the big missile. He's able to stop pretty much the entire push down the steps, obviously with his teammates acting as support a little bit further back, but he's that linchpin, he's that player that cannot be moved. And unfortunately, it ends up being the downfall for Execration. Speaking of which, all gamers are going to take a little bit more active contention against Execration's push into the control room this time, but it won't work out. They are still going to attempt the light boost, however, and it'll be successful, putting ZQ on the top of it. Oh, and he's got someone actually catch this time as well. The Sprite will work out. He dives down looking for more via wallbang. Most importantly, though, he's dropped the C4. If he gets support from teammates, they might be able to hold it right here and prevent Execration from doing anything else for the rest of the round. Smoke's also going to move in and try and block off any immediate attempts to retake control of the C4.
And that is going to be a crucial mistake coming out from Execration. The first player in with the C4 in hand, and it's now in full control for AG, just collapsing in around it. You can see 4 players here on top of that C4 position. The last player here, TMQ, just holding down the flank to make sure nobody can sneak behind. And this should be another round here for AG to potentially put themselves on match point if they can hold on to it here. LXM just baiting for this positioning behind the box here on lockers. ZY watching the L-turn position, waiting for someone to peek out. And this is just a perfect setup here around the dropped bomb. And I just don't see any way out of it here for Execration.
Time is going to continue to grow lower and lower as well, with Execration just trying to figure out any option they might have to get themselves back in and get control of the C4, but it's not working. TF holds the line against the first push. LXM chiming in as well with a quick double kill for him. They've now fended off pretty much all the pressure coming in for the control room. There is a trade from Ares, but he's also quickly dealt with on the outside, leading to yet another round for all gamers and putting them most importantly up on map and match point.
And this looks like it could be the beginning of the end there. Just simple mistakes adding up here for Execration, leaving that bomb in the hands of the first player in. Not what you want to see, and already Camaro falls. This could be it as AG looks to get aggressive here. TMQ, though, goes down. Modern finds one, and Execration look to keep the dream alive as they take a man advantage.
3 versus 4 now. Execration getting themselves back into it just when it seemed like they had lost their edge. continue to fight. Kark as well hiding on the inside of the smoke. It's not going to work out, though. LXM catches him this time with a quick headshot to knock him down. And now even the engagement out to a 3v3. In fact, more so an advantage over towards all gamers, considering that health pool that EXE have to work with.
And right now, this could still be over here. AG, 3v3, HP advantage on their side as well. Looking to close it 10-5. Aries, though, trying to put a stop to that. Finds one player. Back turn doesn't matter. ZY turns around and takes him out. And once again, they have control of the bomb. And as we've seen, AG, they generally don't lose once they have that bomb control in their hands. Charlito, though, along with Modern, looking to try and save the day here and maybe go into yet another round here. But AG, surely looking primed to close this one out.
Continue to put a whole lot of focus over towards the B cage and continue to make sure that Execration won't be able to get any decent access. C4 once again going onto the ground. ZQ is going to take challenge at the C4 as he falls back to the rafters now. And that will allow for Execration to pick it back up. Problem is, ZQ will push right back in and retake control over the C4. Charlito, yes, he's able to find himself a trade. Now he's isolated into the 1v2 as he's lost his teammate. Just under a minute for him to make a play here. At the very minimum, the C4 down on the ground on either side. However, there's the push. It's going to be LXM picking up the final frag of the map. And it'll be all gamers moving forward. China will continue to hold strong as their second team is going to move forward into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, definitely an incredible performance from AG. Execration, they did have some good moments in that match, but at the end of the day, AG, shot for shot, just came out on top as the more dominant team in this one.
Well, it certainly was the result that we expected, but I think Execration put up a good fight, to be perfectly honest. It certainly started off in the way that looked like maybe all gamers were going to come through. It was going to be a 10-3, 10-2, something along those lines. But talk us through the second phase of that match, Kyle. We saw Execration, obviously, once they flipped over to attack, they looked, even though a little bit more comfortable through the middle of the round.
Yeah, I think for Execration on the attacking side, the problem started to come when they let their bomb carrier go in first 3 rounds out of that half. And I think a lot of issues sort of spiraled around that, and they weren't able to really capitalize once the bomb was down. AG just collapsed around the position, and they just won the round holding the bomb.
That doesn't seem like something that you would, like, if you make the mistake once, sure, but to make it 3 times, that just seems peculiar to me. Are they not paying attention? Was the pressure getting to them?
I think for Execration, they just felt a little bit too comfortable with some of their entries and sending the wrong person at the wrong time. I don't think they intentionally let the bomb carrier go in first. I think it was just a miscommunication on their front and no trades coming out from them.
What are your thoughts, Blue?
Just a very unfortunate kind of heat of the moment thing. That of the in-game leadership from the side of Execration just not shining out in that perspective and not having the time to realize that mistake was being made and be able to correct it. As you mentioned, though, it happening 3 times in a row, completely unforgivable. We go back to the first half, though, and it was really just all gamers continuing to win so many gunfights and so consistently that allowed them to push ahead so early.
It's very impressive for me to see that when all gamers are coming through, I feel like when they're attacking, when they're pushing in, when they're retaking, that's when they excel, when they're moving. They certainly seem to struggle a little bit in the middle there when it was their turn to hold on the defensive side. But hey, if you can pick the first pick and he's got the bomb, then it's easy life. And with that, we will see all gamers progress through to the quarterfinal, the top seed in their group. Execration going to drop down. They still have another life. They can either go up against Ava Team or Black Dragons. Do you think they have a preference, Kyle?
I think right now they'd be looking to Ava Team just because they had such a weak performance in their first match. They may be hoping that that continues throughout, but Ava Team, I've seen them in the past bounce back, so I'd expect them to look a little bit better moving forward.
Look at that. ZQ is going to be our MVP, 20-7. Are you in agreement with that, Blue? It's a pretty good score.
Yeah, definitely. I think once again the theme for all gamers wasn't necessarily one player. It was a really consistent performance just across the entire team was the message, and that held true in yesterday's game, and I think it holds true for this match as well.
So going through, all gamers looking strong. We've got Q9 and all gamers now, 2 Chinese teams going through and locking themselves in a slot in the quarterfinal. Again, as the top seed in their group, giving themselves the absolute best chance to find themselves a slot in the best of 3 semi-finals. Coming up next, it is Superbound Gaming up against INTZ. SVG obviously trying to lock themselves in as that 3 from 3 for China through to the quarterfinals. They are looking very good so far.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm sure Carbon's hoping that that happens too, because that means they won't have to face all 3 Chinese teams in their quarterfinal, which gives them that comfortability of feeling like they can at least make it to the semifinals before they have a really tough match in front of them. But on the other side, INTZ, they could still win this match, and that could completely change how our bracket stage looks.
Yeah, that's it, right? If they do drop one of those Chinese teams down, it's as unlikely as perhaps it seems. That then, makes life very difficult for the rest of the teams who have come in top of the seed. You think if we make it through as the top seed in our group, we're free from having to worry potentially about those Chinese teams. I've got Matt on the stage for the interview.
Yesterday as well as today, it was 10-5 in your opening match yesterday, 10-5 here now. Are all gamers happy with their performance in those first 2 games?
昨天你们是10比5赢的，今天也是10比5赢的。你们觉得自己表现怎么样？你们对自己表现满意吗？
因为国外队现在也是非常厉害，所以我们这个打的吧，发挥出来自己的水平了。我觉得我们打的都非常好。
We thought the foreign teams are very strong nowadays, and I think we performed very well.
I asked Solo yesterday of Q9, who are also through to our quarterfinals. I asked him how they felt being in the shadow of All Gamers and Super Valiant. So I'd love to know how All Gamers feel about being in the shadow of SV and what they can do to be the #1 team from China.
昨天我也问了秦九 solo 选手这样的问题，就是有人会觉得说秦九可能是中国第3强的队伍 ，SV 和 AG 排在前面。那今天我也想问你同样的问题，就是大家都觉得 SV 是最强的队伍，可能 AG 只能排第2，你对这种说法怎么看？你怎么想？你觉得你们能成为中国最强的队伍吗？
线下比赛大家都是看临场状态的嘛，所以说这个大家都是5-5开，没有说谁比谁更强嘛。
I think it all depends on the performance in the match. I think we are 50-50%.
You mentioned foreign teams are particularly strong. So out of all of the teams who are here then, if you reckon you're about 50-50 with SV, which of the foreign teams from outside of China does he think is their biggest threat to stop them being the world champions?
你之前提到说外国队伍很强，现在变得很强了，然后你说和 SV 5-5开，那你觉得在外国队伍里面，你觉得哪支队伍最难打呢？
我觉得外国队伍都很强，没有说谁难打，就是看我们能不能把我们自己的水平发挥出来吧。
I think all the foreign teams are very strong. It's very hard to pick one. So as long as we perform our best, we can beat them.
But he won't pick one.
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll let him off because he's a quarter-finalist. TMQ, congratulations. All gamers through to our quarter-finals. We'll go to a short break, and then we're going to go our winners match of Group D, where INTZ are going to try and stop Super Valiant Gaming. So don't go anywhere. This is day 2 at a CFS 2018.